You know, I took a real hot picture last year. And guess who was in it? Nah, it's not me. I know what you're saying.
Meet a man that could actually change your life. You know, mental illness is something that we all have to encounter or have dealt with. But do remember, you're not alone.
It's a moment right here. I've been here in a long time. Yeah, I remember catching the ass whooping for climbing through that window back there, hitting that house. Playing handball on that school wall. My name is Elijah Cattle. I was born in Queens, New York originally, Astoria. Moved over to Jersey City for a little while, and then I migrated to Staten Island, and that's where I've been ever since I was 9. When I moved out of Astoria to Jersey City, I was 4.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all. I don't remember anything about Queens. I don't remember I have like some slight memories of my first house, but nothing too serious. I remember my house in Jersey City a lot more descriptively. So yeah.
When you moved to Jersey City, what was your mother's reason for doing that?
She wanted to be, it's gonna sound crazy, but she wanted to get us out of the neighborhood we were in. And I think something about she also wanted to be closer to work. You know, where we lived at in Jersey City was pretty close to reasonably close to the Holland Tunnel, so yeah.
She worked in Manhattan at the time?
Yeah, she worked in Manhattan at the time, at a law firm. I was like 7, 8 years old. That was when I started gaining weight. I was chunky as hell. My interests started changing. I became more like in clothes, because as my interests would change, I couldn't find other people who had similar interests that I had. So, you know, naturally, if you can't have common interests with somebody, you're not gonna want to talk to them, you're not gonna want to hang with them, you're not gonna want to chill. So I started already finding myself growing apart from people at a young age, and it got to a point where I was pretty much, it was just me and like 1 or 2 other people. I didn't even notice it because I was so cool with just being by myself. I was so wrapped up in just my own thing, I didn't even notice I was becoming alone.
I'm Winston Cattle, and I am Elijah's father. I started back in 1994, and things was great. You know, we went out to the clubs, we had a great time, go home, and do it again the next week. So I had no responsibilities. You go out and get the 9.5s, the Jordans, the Champion hoodies, the Timberlands, stuff that people are still wearing today. I remember every weekend we used to go to Harlem. So every new car that was out, Harlem already had it 6 months before it came out. We was there every weekend.
Wow. So tell us about, you know, you've met Elijah's mother. How did it all stay?
Things are going good, and then all of a sudden she caught me by surprise and said that she was pregnant. I wasn't prepared for that. No, I had 2 jobs. Every check was mine.
Was it frightening?
Yeah, I would say more so surprising than frightening. Whether I have it or I don't have it, I gotta make sure that the child has it. So again, it's not about me no more.
My mother and father, they co-parented. You know, they did a good job of that. I went and go see my dad and my grandmother, my aunt, uncle. They had it set up where every other weekend I would go spend the weekend with him.
Staten Island, New York? Mm-hmm. And how far was that from Jersey?
Not far at all, just right over the Bayonne Bridge.
Okay. How was you and your father's relationship?
As a kid, great. I think it kind of got messed up as we spent more time around each other as I got older.
I lived out here in Staten Island, New York all my life.
And what happened? So she lived in Queens?
She lived in Queens, so we were co-parenting. I had to go over there every weekend to get my son. And then eventually she moved to Jersey.
So, Jersey City, I heard.
Jersey City, yes. which is not too far from
Manhattan.
yeah, not minutes away from Manhattan. So it wasn't bad at all.
Where did the change come that you ever noticed your son to be having issues with identity as far as with other kids, as far as socializing skills? When was it where you noticed that your son was having social skills with other kids? Did you know it through the mother, or did you know it through yourself?
No, I noticed it through his mother.
And what exactly did she say?
You know, he's having social skills.
With other kids in school?
Mm-hmm.
How did you deal with that?
Honestly, I really didn't deal with that because, you know.
How was it for you as a child? How was your social skills at his age?
My social skills were pretty good.
You were a little fortunate.
Yes.
Now, how old were you? How old was Elijah when he was having his social skills? Like 6, 7 or something like that?
I believe around that age. No, his mom let me know that he was having social skills.
And when she said social skills, what exactly in depth would that be?
Well, he really wouldn't socialize with the kids at school. He had maybe 1 or 2 friends, if that. So he really didn't have the bond there for our friendship with the kids in the school.
When I was 8, I found out that my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. And
What stage?
I don't know. But they caught it early enough to where she went to chemo for it, and she tried her best to fight it.
Oh, how am I supposed to deal at a young age like that? Being a single parent, knowing that, you know, the other parent is no longer in existence. I can't pick him up or drop him off. He's with me 100% of the time now. That's 100% my responsibility.
I remember one day we were walking to the store, and she said, you know, how would you feel if, you know, the doctor had to cut out one of mommy's breasts? And I was like, why? She said, because mommy has cancer, and the cancer is living in one of her breasts, and it's gonna make me really, really sick.
The reality is, you have to live your life according to your son, because now you have to live for him. Everything that he needs, you have to provide. I thank God I have my family to help me out also. That was a great deal.
My mother's sister, my aunt Lily, at that point in time, you know, her and my mother always had a very, 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 very rocky relationship. For those years that, you know, she was in recovery and she was in a state of like bad weakness, Lily would always drive from Piscataway, New Jersey, up to Jersey City, which is like a 2-hour ride. And she would spend as much time in my old house as possible. And she and my mother would try and create a semi-stable environment where I knew my mother was sick, but I had somebody in the house that was running it, and I knew my mother was still home. So they tried to create a sense of like normalcy. My mother tried to give me a spanking when she was in remission from cancer. And it made me feel so guilty because she was too weak to even make me feel any pain. It was just the mental pain of I knew my mother was sick and I was still acting like a fool. That made me feel worse.
So that's when you calmed down with the bad stuff, the beating up the kids and being a bully.
Yeah, because then that was what gave me like the gravity to know that something's not right at home and I can't be acting the way I've been acting.
When she passed, I was affectionate towards him, you know, try to nurture him.
But overall, you didn't feel that you was an affectionate person?
No. You know, didn't have any friends like say come by the house or hang out with once in a while, maybe 1 or 2 friends if that. But for the most part, in the weekends, he never really went anywhere, didn't want to go anywhere. He's into video games.
I'm still a kid. I'm, you know, wrapped up in my own little world of my favorite TV shows, video games, my homework, schoolwork. I didn't understand that my mother was still at risk of getting sick again because she had went through the round of chemo. So I was like, okay, well, she went through this. She's not sick anymore. Like, I just gotta wait around till she gets better. Until she didn't get better, and she started taking trips, and not a lot of trips, in and out of the hospital. I seen her the day she died, and she just told me that she wanted me to continue being a good boy, get all my schoolwork done, and keep on doing my best to make her happy. She knew she was dying that day. And she told me things, speaking from her last time, and I didn't know it was gonna be her last time. So I didn't properly absorb everything she was telling me, because I thought it was just, the same old thing she always tells me when I go to see Mom in the hospital. No one told me what hospice was, and I didn't know. So.
How long was she in hospice?
I believe it was the last 2 weeks or last week. One of the two. And yeah, shit, I prayed. I went to church. My faith stayed steady. I'm a kid. I ain't do nothing bad to nobody. Why me? That was the burning question for the longest time.
Until your adult years?
Mm-hmm.
To recent years?
To recent years, till I got back in touch with God a little bit.
The fact that you wasn't taught this, did you teach your son?
Nah, I didn't. Nah.
You admit that?
Yeah.
Do you feel that affects him today?
Honestly, probably so.
Your father stepped in. And
that's when we moved to Staten Island. And I started attending public school out here, and I was shut in. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't know I forgot how to make friends. Not like I ever really knew, but I didn't know how to make friends. I didn't want to make friends. I didn't want to talk to anybody.
Was there any resentment?
There wasn't a sense of resentment because I didn't have anything to be mad at. It's not like, I could point one thing out and be like, you did this. No one killed my mother. My mother died because she got sick. When she passed, though, that was the worst. That was the most I cried. That was the worst I cried. I cried till I threw up. I cried till you can't cry anymore. I cried till the tears stopped coming. That is a different kind of pain. Like, I wouldn't wish that pain on anybody. I didn't know exactly how mean kids were till I got to middle school. I think it was just something about me that people were able to pick up on, like, I could get them. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was my walk, talk, personality, the way I acted. I don't know what it was, but something about me, like, let other people know that I could get him, I could punk him, I could do this, he ain't gonna do nothing. I could do that, he ain't gonna do nothing. I could take this, he ain't gonna do nothing.
And that was happening?
Yeah. Worst thing that ever happened to me in my life was in middle school. I found out like a whole bunch of kids got together and like pissed in my bag in gym with all my shit in there. And
they pissed on your clothes?
Yeah, my hat, my scarf, my gloves, my textbooks, my notebooks, all that. Only thing they didn't get pissed on was my coat, because thankfully it wouldn't have fit in my bag, otherwise it would have pissed on my coat too. But yeah, I found out like 3-4 kids took turns just pissing in my whole bag, like really pissing it down. And everybody was watching this shit, laughing. It didn't happen in front of me, thankfully, but to this day, I still never found out who did it.
You remember it as clear as day?
Mm-hmm.
When his mom died, part of him died. His ambition died. Because if his mother was alive, he would be in college right now. If he wouldn't be in college, he'd be doing something with his life. Not saying he's not doing nothing with his life now, but he would be in a much better position right now. Like, say if I were to die today, he would be in trouble. If his mother was alive, if I were to pass away, he would be able to hold his own. He would have himself set up with a career, a job, you know, like say, you know, I'm ready for the world.
He doesn't empty the garbage. What do you do?
Well, I leave out of here for work in the morning, sometimes like 3 o'clock in the morning. Normally, the right thing to do is let your kids sleep. I'm gonna wake them up, tell them take the garbage out. Do I feel bad about that? Absolutely not. Am I gonna keep doing it? Absolutely.
When he's watching sports and he's sitting down, because he became more of a sports fanatic in the more recent years, do you ever sit down with him and at least try to watch the sports with him?
Nah, I don't want nothing to do with sports.
When you're watching forensic shows, does he sit down and watch it with you?
Nah.
Does he get involved with your day?
Sometimes, but I believe it's forced. He was being told to ask about my day. Well, you know, something's superficial. It's not heartfelt. So, I just play the game. So I asked myself, either you're going to want something in the next 2 hours, you're going to ask me for something, or you was told to ask me how my day was. Which is it? There's an ulterior motive.
Your parent at the time and your aunt raised you in Staten Island. They were raising you at that time. Where did you go for middle school? They changed your location.
They changed me from public school to private school.
Now, was that a better thing?
No, it's just, like, private school to me is the biggest ripoff on the planet. Because your kid, you're paying to, you know, put your kid in a quote-unquote better environment. But kids is going to be kids no matter where you put them at. So public school and private school, it was no difference. I made some friends, some friends for that time. And that just, like, became a character that they could all, like, gravitate to. So I started playing a role.
You had to play the role in order to get a good positive response of having friends.
Yeah, I couldn't be myself. Being myself got my stuff pissed on. Being myself, like, people perceived me as weak when I was by myself. That's why they was able to take advantage of me in public school. So when I went to private school with a whole different mentality.
But you went back to public school.
Yeah, I went back to public school for high school.
How was that?
It wasn't really a culture shock, because like I said, like, public school and private school is no different. At least the one that I went to.
What do you think would be the motive of you guys becoming more closer to each other?
Do what I ask you to do.
Did your dad show you any love?
Nah. He didn't show me physical love, like, you know, I love you, son. Or give me a hug and kiss on the cheek or pat on the back, something like that. Nah, he ain't never do that.
Never.
I mean, not never, but really, really, really seldom.
Do you feel that you and your dad's relationship played a negative role because of your mother's death? Or do you feel that it was before that?
I would have to say because of my mother's death. Because before that, I don't remember what our relationship was like before that. So, yeah, my mother dying and him taking on the responsibility It was great that he did that, but as we got older, we started to butt heads a lot. And most of that is my fault, so I understand why he feels the way he feels. I just wasn't motivated to do anything. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to be anything. I just wanted my mom.
Being that your mom passed,
My aunt was everything. She still is everything to me. I love that woman with all my heart. She was mom, dad, aunt, everything.
now you said your aunt, this was your father's sister?
Yes.
Okay. And explain, like, was she, she wasn't replacing mom, but tell us about how serious that was.
She wasn't replacing mom, but she did above and beyond what she needed to do. Like, she did everything. She raised me, fed me, clothed me, helped me out. She's still helping me out now. Like, she's just a phenomenal person. Like, that was the person that guided me through life after my mother's mission ended. So she's just, I can't even put it into words. She's just fantastic. All right, well, I had one aunt that was everything, and then I had one aunt that, the relationship wasn't as good as it could have been. And I learned a lot about the things that she did as I got older. And I'm thinking, like, this ain't all that bad, or, stuff like that. Because I'm still a kid. I'm thinking, like, people telling me, oh, I love you, and everyone's coming up to me during my mother's funeral talking about they love me and will he be here to support you. And a couple months later, all them people went away except for two people, my uncle Tony and my aunt Lily.
The sister wanted to take him. And I'm like, what I look like? Because you think I'm young, I'm just going to, like, say, here, take my kid like a Frisbee? I said, nah, it ain't happening. You can see him. I got no problem with that. But he's living with me.
So Elijah's going through all this. Was he old enough to know where he wanted to go?
Nah. But the bottom line is, before all this storm happened, I went to the judge, I explained my situation. So he said, by all means, that's your son, you're the biological, this is the birth certificate. He's going to stay with you. You're the father. And the discussion.
How did your son's mother's families feel about that?
Well, the brother was cool. There's one aunt in particular who was really upset about it. And I'm like, I didn't say you couldn't see him. He's living with me. And a discussion. You can get him on the weekends, I got no problem with that.
There was somebody that helped you tremendously in this growth of this raising of your son. Who was that?
Definitely, that was my sister. And my mom helped out too. That was a great deal.
Majorly.
Absolutely.
So do you feel that they was able to fill in the cracks of things you could not apply?
Yeah, absolutely.
And tell us about how effective they was dealing with him.
It worked out very well because at the time I had two jobs, so when I wasn't able to hold it down and to spend time with my mother, or my sister would hold me down. But I always spent time with my kid.
You were very grateful for that, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tremendous help.
Oh, of course. I'd be in trouble if it wasn't for them.
Elijah said that there was issues of you not being there in regards to teaching him the birds and the bees, the love of women, dealing with those adult type of maneuvers as he got older.
Yeah, it's true. Well, if I wasn't taught that from my dad, I can't teach anything that I don't know. You just had to just go out and learn on your own.
So you was not taught that from your dad?
Nah.
Oh, wow. Do you feel that that played a big part in you becoming a father so prematurely?
I would have to say so.
And what was the relationship that really put you guys distant in regards to household duties, stuff like that?
I have to just keep the place clean. You can't do that. I have to repeat everything almost 2-3 times a week, sometimes back to back to back. I shouldn't have to. You're a grown man.
Tell us about that.
You don't leave anything in the sink. There's stuff in the sink. Take the garbage out. I wake up in the morning, 3 o'clock. I go see there's garbage in the bathroom. I wake him up, tell him take it out. He says, Dad, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I say, yeah, I know. If you had taken it out 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night, I wouldn't be waking you up now.
And do you feel that that played a part with you guys being distant, where you woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning to take?
Oh yeah, nobody wants to be waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Unless you got to go to work or something like that, then it's no problem. But, you know, when you live with somebody, there's rules that you have to abide by. When you live on your own, you can do whatever you want.
And what do you feel now? What do you guys feel now that could change? Has it gotten any better?
It gets better when he wants something or when he needs something. That'll be good for about maybe, at the most, 4 or 5 days, and then it's back to the BS.
My dad had nothing to do with that, and I do feel bad that he had to wear the brunt of that, but not knowing how to deal with depression and the lack of motivation that you have to do anything. It's like, I'm not doing this just to purposely spite you. I'm not taking up the garbage and not washing the dishes out in the sink just to get you angry. I don't want to do that stuff because I don't want to do anything. Because I don't know how to deal with being sad constantly. Used to unplug the cord out of the TV. Now, when you don't have a lot of friends and your social life isn't exactly, you know, booming, your TV and your phone is everything. So when he took the cord out the TV, that's 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day when you don't have anything to do at home. That's irritating. The garbage, he used to put the garbage on my bed if I didn't take it out the night before.
On your bed?
Yeah, so it'd be days when I was coming home from a hard day's work and just see that on my bed, and it's like, well, shit, now I gotta sleep on the couch because I gotta spend all night washing my goddamn sheets. Like, that's nice. Sometimes, like, I'm really airheaded too, so I forget. Either I forget or I just didn't want to do it. And again, I'm not doing anything. I don't do any of these things on purpose to spite him, like, you know, like a rebellious kid would. You understand? I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah, and if I tell you to take the garbage out, that means take it out. It's very simple. You have a choice. You don't have to take it out. But every time that you don't listen, there's repercussions for that.
And what were those repercussions?
I take the garbage and throw it in his bed. He said you didn't have to do that.
Wow.
I said you're right. But what did I tell you to do?
What hurts you more than anything? Just why did that frustrate you so much? Tell us about that. What frustrated you so much about when he didn't do certain household chores, or why was this such a big deal?
Because I told him to do something and he just walked out the house. All you had to do was take you under 2 minutes. Take the bag, put another bag in the garbage can and walk out. Take the garbage with you. You chose not to do that.
Do you think Elijah's struggles as a good boyfriend, so to speak, comes from his being raised by his dad?
I'm kind of on the fence with that one. I would have to say. Like, yes and no. You know, you want to have the love, but you want the person to have the same type of feelings for you. Because if not, they're just basically using you. But time will tell, you know, how somebody really is sincere. Everybody has a mask on when you first meet them. So, you know, it takes time. But eventually, if your eyes will be wide open, you'll see for yourself.
But now you had that thing for the ladies.
Yeah. I had my first experience, if you want to call that, in my senior year of high school, and ever since then, that was like a whole new world opened up for me. So.
Now tell us about that experience. Did you lose your virginity at a certain age?
Yeah, 17.
17.
Yeah. So after that happened, I was just like, yo, I need to try and do that again. Because, you know, you hear things in high school, you know, everybody starts around the same age. So you hear stories about what it's like. You hear you've been hearing all these things about this experience for years and years and years and years and years. But it's different when you're there. Like, you could hear about something to the end of time, but until you do it, it's like a whole new different thing. So I prioritize that above a lot of other things.
What happened in college?
Shit, that became priority over college, because I'm not exactly the school type. And the college that I was applying or trying to go to, one was just a utopia, and the other one was basically one big library. So one I would have gotten way too easily distracted and I would have flunked out. I wasn't a gentleman because no one taught me how to be a gentleman. I had to learn that over time. I always had gentlemanly qualities, but I never knew how to bring any of that out because, you know, marginal experience and that type of thing just led me down a whole different type of road.
Tell us about your first love.
Alright, so I met this girl across the street. She was in my neighborhood. I offered her some food, rather. And she said that was actually like really nice. That stuck out to her. She, of course, turned me down, but you know, I shot her my number. She gave me hers. We were talking a little bit. Nothing serious, though, because I still had other things going on I was probably paying more attention to. And then one night, I just see her walking her dog, and me and my uncle were outside talking, and we start talking a little bit more frequently. And, you know, we tell her come back around after she's done walking the dog. She came back around. We started talking more and more. And next thing I know, me and this girl together. It's different when you get somebody that you would have never even met had y'all just never spoke to each other. And they're loving you in ways that your family just can't love you in. So everything was just hitting me all at once, and it was like a beautiful thing for me. So I'm getting love from all these different places, but really I'm lacking love from mom and dad the way that I needed it. And I replaced that with what I thought was love from her. And that was just, again, it overwhelmed me.
How long were you two together?
We were together for 8 months.
8 months.
Credit to her, she was honest with me. She told me she didn't love me anymore. But I love hard, so I was like, well, I don't care that you don't love me anymore. I'm just gonna love you until you love me again. And that, you can't do that. And I didn't know that. So she got me the gift. You know, she got me a gift. I got her a pair of Converses. And, you know, I gave them to her on Christmas Eve. Later on that night, she sends me this long text message telling me about how she can't do it anymore. And I got aggravated at that, and I responded to this like a child, because that next morning I was like, yo, it's fine, we don't have to be together anymore, but I want my gift back. To make me look even more stupid, she didn't make me give back the gift she gave me. I was the only one that collected anything from her. So, yeah.
And you had a lot going on yourself.
Yeah.
You broke up with your first love.
Yeah.
Is this the only woman you ever loved?
I loved several, but none like that. You know.
Your first.
But I saw the future. Mm-hmm. But, you know, in the beginning, she wanted to get married. I'm like, I just met you. I'm not trying to get married. Throughout the 7, 8 years, 9, 10 years, then later on that could change. But right now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just leave it alone. If things are good, just leave it. So she said some things later on and didn't work out. So we tried to, so I said, let's sit down, have a dinner, whatever, talk. So I said, listen, I want to set things on the table. What you want to do? I said, you want to get married? What do you want to do? He said, well, I want to see what else is out there. I said, I know what's out there, but you got to find it out for yourself. If I've been with you for the past, like, say, decade, and you can't see what's going on, then maybe I'm not the one for you.
Fast forward, you heard some real upsetting news about her. Tell us about that.
Oh, she had a baby. I was like,
How soon after y'all broke up?
like shortly, like say, on 2 years' time. So I'm saying to myself, you just killed yourself. Because any chances of us getting back together, you just finished it. It's never gonna happen.
Why was that such a big deal if you had a son at the present time?
Because before I met her, this girl was already pregnant. So it's not like I stepped out on her. There's no chances of us ever getting back together, ever. You can't erase a child.
Do you still love her?
Not anymore, no.
You still care for her?
Yeah, I care for her. Come by, have dinner, drink, whatever, but no physical attraction, none of that going on, nothing.
How do you feel that relationship played a part in your dating after? Being that your son, because you guys obviously could relate to one thing, he had a first love that, hurt him, and you felt that your first love, of course, hurt you. How do you feel that that played a part in your dating life for the future and present?
I don't know. I really can't explain it.
Did you love anybody?
I tried, but it didn't work out.
So you haven't loved anybody like you loved her?
Nah,
Okay.
I ain't found the right one.
Since?
Nah,
Okay.
nobody worthy.
Okay. Do you trust anybody?
I trust myself.
Wow. Would you date a woman with children?
Yeah, 2 the max.
What would you tell your son if he was dating a woman that he was dating in the first love and now she has a child but they love each other? Would you advise him to get back with her?
No.
And why is that?
If she loved him, then the 2 of them should have worked it out.
Your ex-girlfriend, if she was watching now in regards to something that has been on your mind, within, respectfully, from the bottom of your heart,
what would I say? That's a good question. Honestly, I told you so.
and what did you tell her?
They want to find out what else is out there. But I told them I know what's out there. But you got to find it out for yourself.
And what's out there? What do you know about yourself that she missed out on?
The greatest thing that ever happened to her. I ain't put a gun to her head and said, marry me. It was your own free will. You told me no.
You had a house prepared for her, future, everything.
Rings, everything would have been good money. But like I said before, I'm not forcing nobody to do nothing for me. The choice was yours.
It was the highest of highs in my life. And the problem is when you're up, you never think that you could fall off. So in the peak of our relationship, I couldn't see us breaking up for whatever reason. But the thing about it is the higher you go, the higher you fall when that happens. So imagine just instantly going from like the best space in your life to just boom, the worst. And that's what happened to me. And again, it took me a long time to try and maneuver through that. I did a lot of repression. Like I repressed a lot of things I wanted to tell her because I didn't want to seem like I was crazy. A lot of feelings and just everything I felt about the whole situation, I had to like keep that in a box because I thought that that's how you deal with a breakup. And I didn't realize that when you love somebody, that's not how you deal with that. That's how you deal with the situation where, that person didn't really mean that much to you.
Did you feel worthless?
Yeah.
You felt worthless, ugly, All of the negative things that were all in your mind, you felt this.
Yeah.
Explain this.
It didn't happen initially after the breakup, but I'd always been struggling with low self-esteem. I always viewed myself as less. So when I finally found somebody that viewed me as more, everything was, perfect. But the way we broke up made me view myself as even less than less. Because I ain't have any experience in heartbreak before. So when that happened, and it happened on the worst scale, this isn't somebody that just, got sick of me. She left me for someone else. So that's just like a double gut punch. Like, not only are you worthless, I found somebody that's worth way more than you are, so I'm gonna go sleep with them. Like, damn.
So this is great. You finally enjoyed or seen a production that was kind of different. But Elijah and Winston is different. Similar, but different. True father, true son. Nothing scripted here, okay? But what you have to do, instead of these individuals of critiquing them, learn how serious this is, whether you need to get close to your sons, your daughters. Look at something positive. So enjoy this and take a look at Elijah and Winston on this particular zone here. I mean, man, that's pretty confident of you to say something like that. How did you know it? How do you feel that that's the truth?
Well, I knew it for the 10 years that I was with her. So, if you want to step out and feel that you're going to find something better, I can't force nobody to do nothing they don't want to do. Listen, if you feel that's the route you want to go, by all means, go for it.
How has it been, dating, being the good guy?
It has the ups and downs. Sometimes it lasts, but nothing definite because I'm not married yet, so.
What kind of experiences have you been in where women, you being the good guy, are they appreciating that, or are you making the wrong choices?
Well, some appreciate it, but then, I can't say, like I said, you can't force somebody to do nothing they don't want to do.
What is it that you want them to do?
To be honest, certain ones they have an ulterior motive. But then when you peep game, then you know what it is.
You work construction, right? You're working in all these buildings in Manhattan. You're working in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens. You're seeing a lot of women on the streets. What's the problem?
Yeah, you just say good morning, how are you? Try to strike up some type of conversation. And you could tell from their motives that when you look them in the eyes, they put their head down and they put their headphones on. That's telling me that they don't want to be bothered. I hope this guy don't say nothing to me. I could just peep that right away. So when I do peep that, I just say enjoy your day.
There are tons of situations where I decided to play things a totally wrong way because I'm being a good guy. And I ended up losing out on somebody that I wanted or could have had if I played it a different type of way. There was a girl that lived in the same neighborhood as me, and I went to approach her one night. We got to talking for a little while, and she was throwing me vibes like she wanted that to happen immediately. I've been seeing this girl for a long time. I admired her, so I was like, I'm not gonna look thirsty. I'm gonna play it slow. And I lost out. Because if I stayed on it and been aggressive and been a slime ball like I was doing for a little bit of that year, then I would have got what I wanted. But now, I can't even shoot my shot at her again because she thinks I'm weird. But the way she presented it to me was, come get this. And the way I presented it to her was, no, because I want to make you my girlfriend. And that just didn't work out for me. That was my first time I remember getting shot down like that by somebody that I had admired. Because before I was just, chalking it up to, different personalities, it wasn't gonna work out. That one, me and her were going back and forth for a little, when I first stepped to her and approached her, we were talking for 10, 15 minutes. And she was throwing me vibes she wanted me to, go in the house and chill. And it just let her go back home, even though she was slightly dropping hints that hey, ask me to come inside.
You didn't want to be typical.
Nah, I was like, man, I like this girl. I ain't gonna try and seem thirsty. Like, you know, she said you gotta go home. I'm gonna let her go home. Ignoring that she told me, you know, nobody's home.
They want to be with the jailbirds. They figure that something glorious about being with a bum who been in jail for 20 years, and he come out and he's living with you, and you feel secure. Meanwhile, he's probably been raped in jail by 20 different men his whole life, and that's who you want to be proud to say you with. To me, I don't get that. I'm sorry, I can't do it. That's who they want to be with. Well, if you choose a bum, you know what he's about already, so you know you're gonna wind up with problems. Is it worth it? Or would you rather involve yourself with somebody who has something going on about their life? Or you know it's not gonna, there's somebody that you can lean on in times of need. Like, you know, like you're a hardworking man, and it's like, you know, you just want to find somebody who's honest, somebody you can rely on. You don't want to be with somebody who's taken away from you, because anybody that takes away from you and it keeps happening, what's going to happen to you? You're going to be dwindled down left to nothing. And before you know it, you age, 10 years, 5 years is going to go by, you blink and you say, damn, why am I aging so fast? Because of your choices. If you choose garbage, you're going to wind up looking like garbage.
Being me is losing out. It's costing me more than it's helping me. It's a crutch. It sucks. I don't approach it as much as I used to. And that's because, you know, I get in my own head sometimes, and I start thinking I'm not good enough. I don't have enough personality. I don't have enough, you know, confidence. I don't have enough machismo to keep them entertained for too long. So when you start thinking you're not good enough, everything becomes unattainable. Like everything's out of your league.
Do you feel that a lot of men, that you could identify with a lot of men that travel out the country, do you feel that you would be any better out of the country?
No, not really, because those dudes living a lie. Anybody's a man out wherever y'all going, because y'all going to third world countries. Like, I'm struggling, but I ain't tapping out. I'm still here. Like, where y'all going? Y'all going out to a woman that her whole house, every wall in her house made of concrete. And she there struggling, real life struggle. Shit, for all we know, she gotta go out and hunt to get her food, her dinner. And you finessing on that? Like, man, stop. You bring that girl back to the States, you can't do nothing with her anyway. What she gonna do, marry her? How you gonna fall in love with somebody that can't speak English? What y'all gonna talk about? How y'all gonna raise kids? God forbid you get hurt and you can't work. You really think she gonna hold you down? She came out here with nothing. You her meal ticket. What money? How's she gonna be supporting you?
When you go down there, you figure, you know, you just want to get away, have a good time, enjoy yourself, and get out of there. Because now you go down there, they want to ask, you gotta buy them a phone. You want to be, I send them money, be a Western Union lover. I ain't about none of that, man. Listen, we go down there, and that's it. I'm there for 7 days or 10 days or whatever it is. After that, you're forgotten about. It makes no sense, to be honest with you. We gonna go down there once a year?
So you would never do it again?
Nah. Just enjoy myself for the time that I'm there.
Is there a difference with the woman there as opposed to the United States?
Nah, they're basically both the same.
All about?
Yeah, pretty much the cash. Listen, all y'all guys going out to Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, Peru, Brazil. Listen, it's over now. Them bros want real bread. That $40 game, it's over. It's a wrap. Forget it. Even the little children begging out there, they asking for $5. You see this here? A lot of women looking for this, but they want it from the bad boy. Man, the bad boy, you're only gonna get problems. You're gonna get the same thing from me, but without the problems. Now it's your choice. You want the garbage or you want a real person?
This thing right here, the most beautiful thing in the world when you get it with the right person. I'm not really gonna be one of these sour, bitter people and be like, F love and all that other stuff, because love is wonderful, but the key is you just gotta get it with the right person is all.
Do you blame your dad for, or do you resent your dad for not showing you how to deal with women particularly? Or do you feel that it's just something that you guys kind of got in common? Could you relate to him on anything?
Yeah, I could definitely relate to him. I ain't mad at him for not teaching me, because he said he don't know how to teach. So I can't get mad at somebody for not knowing how to do something. If he knew how to do it, he wouldn't be dealing with women problems himself.
I understand you, woman. You want that bad guy. But my question is to all of you. Can you marry a bad guy? Can you introduce him to your mother or your parents? Can you go to bed at night and say, you know what? I know this guy got my back. But you keep debating that. Meanwhile, we right here. But again, it's your choice.